We are in the heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I'm very excited for my guests. We've been trying to make sure this interview happened since the top of 2025. We got the mom in the building. What's going on, Mom? And we got the one and only Macartney Reinhardt in the building. One more time with the applause.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
I am so excited to have a conversation with you. I feel like since we've been talking, I've gotten to know so much about you.
Yes, definitely. I can't wait for this interview.
So 12 years old in a band, huh?
I started playing out when I was 12.
My gosh. I mean, I got to know. So when you're growing up, obviously you're listening to a lot of influences. I remember you were talking about one was Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
Big fan of Guns N' Roses?
I very much am. They're one of my top 3 bands of all time.
What are your other top 2?
My other top 2 are the Beatles and Cage the Elephant.
Really?
Yes.
So I was talking to your mom about that. You're named after Paul McCartney?
I am. Yes.
What?
So my parents are huge Beatles fans, and so they wanted kind of a different name, and so they just went with McCartney, but they wanted to spell it a little more feminine, so that's why they chose the M-A-C instead of the M-C-C, so it's more of a first name instead of a last name. So that was my name inspiration.
All right, first of all, how much of the Beatles do you actually know about?
I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge of them. And I know like a lot of their albums and the songs off each album. So I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge.
Well, we're a big fan of conspiracy theories here. So what do you know about Fall? Not Paul, but Fall. Have you ever heard of this story before?
I don't know if I've heard of this one, no.
Okay, check this out. So
Okay.
Paul McCartney, in the beginning, before they got huge, they said it was a conspiracy that he passed away in a car accident. So the Paul McCartney that you see today, or at least what they say is the walrus, is not really Paul McCartney. Have you heard of that before?
I have, yes.
Okay. Well, do you believe that the Paul McCartney that's on the Beatles today, that's still alive, do you think he's the real Paul?
I think he is.
He has to be, right?
I saw him in concert. He was my first concert when I was 8, and I thought, there's no way this guy's a fake. So it had to have been the real deal. What
is that concert like? I've never been to a Paul McCartney concert. I would think that'd be the closest thing to like Michael Jackson.
It was really just surreal. Like I said, it was the first concert I ever went to, and I was only 8 years old. So I couldn't completely grasp it because I was so young, but it was really, really cool. Like he played almost every song he had ever put out.
And how was his voice? Was his voice pretty? Well, I mean, it's been a while ago, so I get you.
It was really good. I think he was 72 at that concert, and it was still like his voice was amazing.
You know, I think about all these legends. Like you have Paul McCartney, you have Carlos Santana, who's older too. You just recently. Did you like Phil Collins by any chance?
I listened to a few of his songs.
A lot of these folks are getting a little bit older, and that's the scary thing about time, right? Is that no matter what, you can't stop time.
I know.
But talk to me about your time here in Nashville, because you relocated to Nashville how long ago?
So I moved here almost exactly 3 years ago.
Wow.
It was right before my 16th birthday. So we had been coming up here from Georgia for about a year prior. And so we had really just been coming back and forth, maybe like a week out of every month. And I was going to regular school at the time, so I was missing like 1 week every month of school. And it became really hard to just try to stay caught up at school. So we decided to move here in 2022 in May.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we've been here ever since.
You unpacked a lot right there, because I want to ask this question. It's always been a question of mine when I think of musicians or actors, actresses that start at a young age, how different their growing up is from my growing up, right? Like, talk to me about that. What's it like to be, kind of starting a business, being a musician, being a creative, but, having to go to school or not being able to go to normal school like everyone else?
Yeah, it was really difficult because like I said, started playing out in middle school, and I was only in 7th grade when I started playing at bars. Like we would go on at midnight, and then I would, it would usually be on a weekend night, but sometimes not. And so that was difficult to get used to because you have to get up so early for school and everything. But yeah, it was a lot different. Like, I felt like nobody understood what I was having, not necessarily to deal with, but just to upkeep with my life, because you're having to do schoolwork, you're having to write songs, you're having to record songs, you're having to put them out, promote them. And so that was really difficult. But I felt like a lot of the kids in my class I couldn't connect with them very well.
Yeah, because you're going on a whole nother path. You're on a path of, in a weird way, you kind of grew up really quickly because, when we're going to school, we're just dealing with, homework and just missing homework. You can't miss, you're going to gigs at night at 12 o'clock. So I'm curious to know, these gigs that you were going to when you're growing up, was it more in Chattanooga or was it more in Atlanta area? They
were definitely more in the Atlanta area. So we would travel more into the metro to play, but we were still considered the metro area where we lived, but we would go further south into Atlanta to usually play. Like, it might have only been like 10 miles away, but it was still further into Atlanta. So
what do you miss about Atlanta? Because, I love Atlanta. One of my favorite areas of Atlanta is, what's the one? I like Lenox area, really.
Yes.
So much. But what do you miss about Atlanta?
Not much.
Why do you say that?
I just like Nashville so much more. I love the music scene here. Mm-hmm. The music scene's a lot different in Atlanta. My dad always grew up in that music scene, and it's just, I feel like people here want to help you more, help you succeed, and I feel like there it's not quite as much.
It's a lot more dog-eat-dog world in Atlanta, 100%.
Very much.
And also the music taste is completely different too, because Nashville, it's very much either your country, there's hip-hop here too, and there's all different types of genre of music. But if you really want to grow as an artist, as a female artist in a pop/country vibe, Nashville is the place for you to be.
It definitely is. Yeah, I always wanted to do country, and I always knew that was kind of the genre since I started playing out. And so it was hard to kind of get into the country scene there, because a lot of people that do country are from Georgia, but end up moving to Nashville to get in the scene.
100%. And it's because we have all the resources here to make it even possible to reach larger than your regional area.
Yes.
And then, not to cut you off there, I wanted to ask, going back to when you're going to school and you're also playing music.
Yeah.
What was it like when you would tell your friends, like, hey, I would love to go, but I'm playing a gig today? Like, did your friends view you like take you serious, or did they view you like, why are you even doing this at your age?
A little of both. Definitely when I first started playing out, the girls in my class did not take that very well. I started playing in a band at about like January of 2019 I did. But December of 2018, I had like a sleepover with all the girls in my class at my house. And then right when I started that band in January, they were all like terrible, just cut me off completely. So they didn't take it very well. But I had friends later, like in 10th grade, which was my last year in in-person school. I did virtual my last 2 years of high school. But probably like 9th, 10th grade, my friends became really supportive, and they were always really into like what I was doing here, and they would come up sometimes to visit. So they were a lot better about that.
I think that's the challenging part, is because, a lot of people, especially at that age group, they don't see we're growing up. And like, even in a certain point, as a 33-year-old man, right? Like, I have X amount of time to make my dream come true. You start at a younger age, you have a little bit more of a runway to get ready. But, it also happens is that your friends that didn't believe in you definitely believe in you now, huh?
I hope. I hope they do by now. So every time I put out a song, I'm like, I hope they're seeing this.
Well, that's the way it should be. All right, so as you're creating music now and putting out brand new music, right? What's it like what drives you? Like, is it the folks that didn't believe in you, or is it your internal drive to maybe you want to put out better music every time? What drives you?
It's definitely a combination of both. I still have the voices of all those kids in my head saying like, oh, you shouldn't make a music account on your Instagram or something. And that made me immediately want to make one. And I always am very bad about being a perfectionist. So I feel like if something is not my best, that I need to, the next single be
even
more.
better.
Yes.
I mean, now I want to ask you this question because, being so far removed from school, right? For me, I wanted to ask, how hard is it to be in school today? Because when I was growing up, there wasn't social media. There wasn't TikTok really. It just became a thing in high school. And even my Instagram is not your Instagram. Your Instagram, I feel like there's a lot more people that are looking older and they're acting older. Back in the day, we would take a picture of a French fry and put a silly caption and no one judged us. Now, every single thing that's on a social media platform has like so much thought behind it.
Yes.
So what's it like growing up today, going on TikTok, going on Instagram? How different is it for you growing up?
Well, I've noticed that with my platforms, I actually find it harder to put carefree type of post. I have felt like ever since I was, I started playing out and started my account, I always felt like this has got to be professional. It's got to look like Taylor Swift's Instagram account. Like it's got to be perfect, everything. But I've actually had trouble posting like more just me type of things because I've always grown up with social media being a thing and everything being perfect on social media and feeling like, looking at all these like models and thinking like, okay, well, I don't need to post a picture in my sweatshirt or something. And so I feel like just growing up in today's society, you feel more pressure to kind of put that on there.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that is exactly what I wanted to ask, is that, with that being that pressure of having to look everything so perfect. And I agree, your Instagram, your music, and not only the way you visualize and shoot everything, it looks amazing.
Thank you.
You guys are really putting in some good content out there. But I did notice, though, there is a little lack of just you being you. Just talking to the camera, when I feel like in today's society right now on TikTok, I think that's the trend, right?
I feel like it is also. And I definitely feel like I need to dive more into that just because I think people like to see that side of anyone more, whether it's musician, whoever it is. So
are you a little scared about doing that though?
I feel like I won't be taken as seriously if I do that. That's why I've always posted like really like serious and like more professional feeling content, because I feel like that'll make me be taken more seriously.
I kind of agree with you too, but also it makes you seem a little older because your content online is so professionally built out, and you post like, man, your team and having you guys post when you guys post, it's amazing because I feel like I'm watching similar to a Taylor Swift.
Thank you.
So, but at the same time though, it's like you're doing these amazing posts, but there's been so many times I just wanted to get to know you.
Yes.
On there. And I think in 2025, is that one of the goals that you got?
Definitely. Yes. I as soon as I can start filming more, I will definitely be trying to do more one-on-one feeling type videos. So that's one of my main goals this year.
Talk to me about the struggles on the top of this year though.
Yeah. So the beginning of the year started off great. January was good. I was playing out, and February 4th, I got hit with the flu so bad. So I went to the doctor, had flu A, and then 6 days later, I developed pneumonia. And so I am actually still, like today, 3 months later, experiencing symptoms from pneumonia. So I've had a really hard time getting over this.
Well, I'm just happy you're here today. And I was telling you that when you walked in the door. You walking in the door to this building today shows me how strong you truly are.
Thank you so much.
But also, what are some things that you learned from that experience of like going through the flu to pneumonia? Like, what are some things you never thought would happen actually ended up happening?
Yeah, I really just had so much time to think and really just assess where I was in my music and just my life, really, because I feel like I'm always on the go, just no matter what day it is. I mean, even through the holidays, like I'll still play throughout the holidays and have Christmas Eve and Christmas off. So it's only like a couple days that I get where I'm not thinking about my music or anything. So it's really given me a lot of time just to sit back and think about like what I want to put out this year, my goals, and to kind of get more of a plan in place for my near and far future.
Yeah. A question I want to ask is, as you're growing up, you know, being younger, having experiences different from how are you able to make music that resonates to people like me?
Well, that has been hard for me, definitely, because country is based on cheating, divorces, drinking.
Yep.
And I haven't really gone through any of that. I mean, I was in a relationship at one time and it was sort of a cheating situation, but nothing like a divorce or anything. Yeah. So, but that was really difficult for me when I started writing because I was so young. I was like, no one's going to think that this is true, and it's not, because I don't know how to portray, sitting in a bar or something. But I have learned to kind of just write off my experiences and know that it'll connect to someone. And then if I want to kind of more connect, I try to still do it with something that I've been through. So it's more me and more authentic.
When you create music, right? I know that you have a lot of music in the can ready to be recorded. So how long does it take you to start a song from the beginning and then have it recorded and released to the public?
So usually I can get that done in about a month. Of course, it takes time with like scheduling when to go into the studio, scheduling a photo shoot for the album cover. Those are usually the really pressing things with it. And then you have to get it to the distributor. And so with the distributor, they say allow a month, but you can't always allow a month for it to get out. So we usually do 3 weeks. And so it usually gets out on all platforms.
Do you feel like you're kind of behind the gun right now?
I do. I feel like that I need to get caught back up and get a really good plan in place for every single that is coming out. I feel like that if I could just line them all up and like set the release date for all of them, that I would be
feeling a little better.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you know what you do have lined up is you're going on literally tour from May until like November, you were saying?
Yes, I'm so excited. I love being out on the road, and I've really missed being out on the road these past few months, so I'm excited to be back out there.
So when you go out on the road, what's one area of the United States that you've been to where you were super surprised that you had fans there?
I was surprised by the amount of people that showed up to, like, in the Carolinas. We went to a few shows there, and I was surprised that there were that many people at those shows. I didn't expect there to be like a big fan base there by any means, and it wasn't like massive, but it was more than I expected, so that was neat. And we also went up to Chicago, and there were people there also, and that was really cool. So
did people ever go up to you and say, I can tell you're a country music singer by your accent?
They usually guess that that's where I do music in Nashville, that I do country, because I've always had a really heavy accent. Even in Georgia, like, people would say I had a heavy accent. I would be like, well, I'm from here. But so they would still say that it was pretty heavy there. So,
well, I mean, how many times do you get confused for being older?
It's happened a lot. I have also recently, like, been confused for being younger also, which is really funny to me. It's like a 10-year age range that people will guess from.
A 10-year age range?
Yes. I will get guests like, I think I got 12 one day.
What?
On Broadway.
Really?
Yes, I was playing on Broadway, and a lady was like, "You're so little. Are you 12?" And I was
Oh my gosh.
"No, I just turned 18."
Well, first of all, it's because you must be drinking a lot of water because your face looks good. You got good skin.
Thank you.
And that's something that only younger folks got.
Thank you. I'm trying.
I'm curious, what's the oldest anyone thought you were?
I believe it was 26.
26.
So, I mean, that's putting us at about a 14-year age range, but it's usually within 5 years either way. But
What do you think about being 26? Do you think that's kind of old?
I don't think it is, but I think that I will be in a much different spot just all around in my career and
Yeah, for sure.
just mentally as a person and just all around. So
If you're doing such amazing things at the age you are today, at 26 or at my age, my God, you're going to be able to own probably me, to be fair. Now, talk to me about what it's been like to not only create music, but meet these fans. Because I feel like when you're talking about your fans, you got fans on Instagram, TikTok. And have you met a fan that's been super nervous to meet you?
I don't know if I have anyone that's been like really, really nervous, but the fans, it's my absolute favorite part of this overall. Like my favorite thing is signing at Fanfare at CMA Fest. That's one of my favorite things to do. And like, I have this little fan, she's from, I believe, Pennsylvania, and she's 8 now, and she is so sweet. And like, she'll always send me videos of her singing along to my songs, and I love her so much. She's so sweet, and that it's my favorite part of it. Though I enjoy it more than putting music out. It's just connecting with people.
What does it feel like to inspire somebody? I know everyone asks you what inspires you, but what everyone forgets to ask is, how does it feel to inspire others?
It's an experience really like no other. I put out a song a couple years ago, and it was an empowerment song. It was called Hey Girl, and so it was for any girl out there being bullied, being just having anxiety, being in a bad time in their life. And so I put that out, and I would read the comments every night and just cry. Like, it was so moving to me to know that there was someone out there that needed that, and I gave them what they needed with that song. And I don't know, it's just like fulfillment like no other, feeling like that you've possibly changed someone's life with that.
Yeah, because we're getting deep. Because you think about there's someone out there right now, and I might be talking to you right now, that is at that tipping point, at that point, that breaking point. And we're here to tell you that we're here to make your life better. If you're watching this show, I want you to have a good time. If you go to one of your shows, leave the problems at the door, right?
Yes, definitely.
And, you know, it's so important how just a little interaction like that fan that's 8 years old can truly change their lives.
Yes.
You making a song that speaks to someone can stop them from doing anything too crazy. I mean, as a musician, do you feel like you have that power?
I don't feel like I have a lot of power over that yet, but that song that I put out a couple years ago definitely made me realize that even at the point that I'm at, have the ability to alter people's way of thinking and just the trajectory of, like you said, their day, their week, their month. Like, I read a comment on there and someone said, I thought about ending it all tonight, but this saved my life. And I was speechless. I couldn't believe that I had written something that had saved someone's life. Mm-hmm. And so that was really, really just eye-opening for me. And it not only can that song change those people's lives, those people impact my life so heavily and make me feel so just more fulfilled and so helpful to people. in that way.
So I love that, and I love how you
you.
put that out there. It's what's your favorite type of music to make? Is it more upbeat? Is it a little bit more mellow? Is it have obviously every song you have has meaning, but I'm just saying, do you like more of those meaningful ones, like you're talking to your mom or something like that? What's your favorite type of song to make?
My favorite type is really just the like stripped down type, just sad, slow, kind of depressed type songs. I like writing those more than anything, that are just more deep and in my feelings than like, I like feel-good songs all day, and everyone else likes feel-good songs, but I really like to write just whatever I'm feeling. Usually when I'm pretty sad, I like to write that down and just kind of strip down, nothing to it much.
You know, I think about your age and your age group. I don't know what it is about the wave that's coming up, the generation under me, a few under me. For some reason, there is a lot more going back to this like weird Nirvana kind of feeling, where it's a lot more in your feels. You guys are a lot more open to being vulnerable. When I think about my generation, it was, oh my gosh, can you imagine your generation? You weren't allowed to feel like that. Like if you had a bad day, that's why the highlight reels was a thing when we were doing that stuff. Yeah. We didn't want to show our vulnerable side. Now TikTok and all these folks are saying, if I'm feeling down, if I want to write a sad song, it's because this is how I'm feeling. Yes. Do you think it has to do with your generation and kind of going up that ladder?
It probably does. I would say, like, I feel like a lot of musicians my age, like literally right around my age, like 18, 19, 20, really like to kind of be in that vulnerable state. And I feel like I connect a lot with those writers my age because we're on the same wavelength, and we're like, okay, we're gonna get vulnerable, stripped down. And I feel like it's kind of the style of like what Zach Bryan's doing. He's not doing a whole lot with it. He's just putting his feelings into a song and putting it out. And so, but I like highly produced songs. Like I like a lot of production in my songs, but I like to write them first to where it's just that, and then you can add from there. How
challenging is it to go into a studio and help direct studio musicians at your age?
That was really, really hard. When I recorded my first song when I was 14. And so that was so hard to figure out, like, well, I don't want to tell them what to do. They can just do their job. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. And so luckily my dad always knew like kind of what I was thinking and the vision for the song. And so he would help me kind of
say it like this, yes, or we want more of this. Because I can imagine, especially here in Nashville, where these folks that are playing in the studios are like legendary, but then you add your age into it where they don't feel, you know, it's kind of like an ego complex, right? It's like, what is someone younger than me is going to tell me how this should sound? But in reality, if you're paying the bills to get the song produced, you're the boss.
Well, that's what I was worried about at first was they're older than me. They know way more. So why should I tell them what they should be doing? But then I learned, you know, everyone wants a certain sound to their song. And these session players are playing all over town, different songs every day. And so they do need to know at the end of the day what your vision is for it. And they most of the time appreciate it. And usually the producers always like, tell us what you want. And then you can get more of a product that you're happy with and that you can put out. Because I've had songs before that, like, if they were produced a different way, I don't know if I would have put them out because I just really enjoyed the production of it and the instruments used. And so that is still a big part for me. But I feel like also the lyrics are a huge part for me also.
You know, it's a huge part because lyrics, I think, like I said, your music doesn't matter what road of life you came in. It relates to people like me who's 30-something years old. I hear it and I can play it on my car stereo and me and the girlfriend will still have a great time. Now, I wanted to ask, when you're talking about Nashville and we're talking about these amazing musicians, What's been one of the most scariest like stages to play in town that you played?
I would say one of the scariest to play was like I played at Bluebird one time. That made me nervous for sure. I did the open mic when I was 16, and that was pretty nerve-wracking. But I don't know. There have been a lot all over town, like writers' rounds that I've done at like the local that are like really big people playing there, and just like my first time playing on Broadway, I was really nervous because we used to come up to Nashville, and I would be like, God, these are pros down here on Broadway, and I don't know how I could get on this circuit or anything. So there were definitely like a few places that I was really nervous.
You know,
the first time.
There's Broadway musicians, and there's nothing wrong with Broadway musicians because people got to pay their bills. There's studio musicians, like you were talking about. Then there's artists that will play songwriters rounds. And then you take it even further, there's artists that travel for their music.
Yes.
And it's pretty amazing to me at your age, you've been able to kind of play all those different people.
Thank you. Yeah, it's tough, definitely, being an artist in town because you've got, the Broadway musicians. They are able to play Broadway all day. And especially like the people that don't sing down there, that's their job, and they don't have to do things on the road or things recording. They can just do that. And so it is difficult to step into all those shoes at one time. But I enjoy playing out all the time and things like that. So.
Which is the hardest out of those? So let me ask you the question again. Is it harder to play on Broadway, play songwriters rounds, record in the studio, your vision, or playing out in a road you've never been to or a place you've never been?
I would say, honestly, it's probably the hardest to play on Broadway.
Really?
I would say so. Out of all of those, because the sets are pretty long on Broadway. I don't sing the whole time. They're 4-hour shifts, but I sing about 2 hours of them, and then my co-front will sing 2 hours. But it's very mentally taxing down there also. Like, you've got drunk people trying to, hug you and everything. And so I run the tip bucket also. And so that's really mentally straining some days. And so it's definitely a more just stressful atmosphere, I would say.
If you could look in the camera right now and someone's going to go to Broadway or someone's going to visit Nashville, and as a Nashville on Broadway musician sometimes, what should they not do?
I would say tip the band. And I would also say just try to not get so drunk that you can't function. That would be my 2 cents down there, because people get really messed up and it gets stressful on us as the musicians when they do. So that's what I would say if you're coming to Nashville.
Now, what about if you're, for maybe there's a young person out there that wants to start her music journey. It was crazy. I met a few at CRS. My God, I met like an 8-year-old. I met an 8-year-old at a country radio seminar that just wants to be a musician so bad.
Oh.
And yeah, and I was like, oh, but like, wow, you have so much. Like, I almost thought about getting her on the show because for you to be an 8-year-old in Nashville with your CD coming up to random people like myself that you don't know, and you're trying to get your music out there, you are stronger than a 33-year-old that is scared to do that.
That's crazy. That's so much guts to do that.
And it is, but I say that to say that, like, what's it like to, put yourself out there? Because not only are you big on social media, but you're putting yourself out there, like fully, like your emotions, your songs, your lyrics, you're out there for everyone to kind of judge you on.
Yes, and that was definitely hard at the beginning because, like, even on social media, like comments that I would get, I was actually talking about that this morning. It was really difficult at first for me because I would get comments about I was really, really small and skinny when I started my music account. People would say things about that, and people would say things about, you don't know anything about country music, so why are you putting things out? And just things like that when I first got started, and that was really, really hard. But now I've just learned to really just kind of take every comment, and I honestly kind of laugh at them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find them more amusing now, and I know that takes a really long time for some people to get to, and it even did me a little bit. Like, you can't do that overnight, but I just try now to kind of see things in more of a comedic way with that than take it to heart. And I think also, like, being bullied in school kind of made me develop thick skin. So that would be the main thing I would say, is just with comments like that, don't take them personally.
You can't take it personally, especially in this day and age where people just can say whatever they want just by typing on their phone.
Yes.
But, I want you to, kind of give some advice to a person who is that 8-year-old girl who's trying to make it in Nashville, who doesn't know anybody, and she's willing to put herself out there. What piece of advice would you give her?
I would say don't listen to people's opinions that you don't value. That's a really, really big thing that I feel like I struggled with when I came to town. And I would also say just put out what you want and don't try to please other people with your music, with your image, and just be who you are and authentic with that no matter what, because that's going to shine through way more than somebody putting up a front ever is. So that would be, and just keep going and don't lose hope, because it's going to get hard. This business has the highest highs and the lowest lows. And so when you reach those lows, just know that the biggest thing you're going to do is going to be even bigger than that low was. So
I love that.
That would be what I would say.
Man, you are such an old soul.
Thank you.
It's really crazy because there's more depth in your answers than people twice your age. And that is wild, because it's just, but it's also because you lived a different life from people. There's folks that, that's another thing. Before we take our next break to play this fun game and stop getting so deep, right? There are people out there that are scared to take that leap, to take that dive, to be a musician. They got families, they have things to do, they have bills to pay, right?
Yes.
But the thing is, though, is that they always wanted to. What piece of advice can you give that person that wants to give it a try, to give it a go, and not to be afraid, no matter what age they are, to, follow their dreams?
I would say if you want to do this with your life, you're not going to be satisfied if you don't try, at least. And it's better to look back and not regret trying than to regret never even trying in the first place. And so that's what I would say, like, just do it. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to go. But if it does, that's what you're supposed to do. And I think I'm very spiritual. Like, I think whatever happens, God intends to happen. And so, but I think if you don't try, you won't be fulfilled. And just be content knowing that you did try.
Do you ever feel like you just want to be normal?
I struggle with that sometimes. It's really tough being in sometimes the public eye and trying to put things out, like I said, to please people, and that sometimes I feel like that I do get off on a path that's not quite me, just because I'm trying to make the audience happy or things like that. But I feel like that sometimes, but it's pretty rarely now, because I'm very thankful for the spot I'm in. And I know that if I wasn't supposed to be doing this, I wouldn't be able to. And so I think that sometimes, but not as much as I used to. In middle school and high school, I thought that a lot, because I just wanted to be like everyone else. But now I'm very thankful for the journey I'm on, and I rarely think that anymore.
Oh, I didn't see you guys there. Hey, if you're enjoying the content that we provide, please consider subscribing to our Heart of the Gulch YouTube show. Hit the subscribe button that's right in front of you, or hit the Heart of the Gulch logo over here in the corner. And of course, like magic, hit the recommended subscribe button that's over here in the banner. We would love to have you guys here at the Heart of the Gulch YouTube channel, and let's get you back onto that interview right now. Okay, so I created this game. It's a spin the wheel game.
Okay.
And I just started doing it this season. It's a bunch of random questions. I want you to answer to your best ability.
Okay.
Let's start with 2 right now. If we have time, we'll do 3. But I want you to pick it up, put it right here, and spin the wheel. Let's see what happens. Ooh.
Wildest fan experience. All right. So let's see. I'm trying to think of my wildest fan experience. I would say definitely somewhere downtown. People get crazy down there. Probably like just people that like are really, really fanatic. And I don't know if there's anyone in particular. I had one guy on Broadway and he was like, sign my arm. And it was so uncomfortable, but I felt like I had to do it too. And so he was like, sign my arm right here. And I was like, okay. And so I did. But it's really nerve-wracking because you're afraid to tell them no because you're afraid they'll be like, well, why not? So I still do a lot, and I probably shouldn't interact with people like that as much as I do. But it's a little nervy doing that.
Give me a red flag. Give me, what is a number one fan red flag? You can see if they're doing this, you know not to give them that much time when you can meet them.
Probably recording every song and just me. Like if they're recording the band, that's good. But if they're like zooming in on me and just recording me for every song I do, and sometimes I've had them record me when I'm not singing, when my co-front is singing, they'll still record me. And that's not a good thing. That's
Can you feel that? Can you feel when they're doing that?
I keep my eyes on it. I like watch, I kind of scan the crowd every time I play just the whole gig. And so I can usually, if I see that happen a few times, I'll pick up like, okay, if I sing this song and they get the phone out, it's not a good sign. So
that's a great cue.
That's one of the things that I've picked up on that's kind of starting to inch towards the not good zone. So that's one of the things. And just like, I don't know, if they want to, even if they want to like, you know, give me a hug a few times or something, that starts like, I'm fine. Like I'm a hugger but one time's fine. But if people start wanting to try to like, you know, like touch my back or like try to start touching me more than just hugging me one time. Or like I had a lady like kiss the top of my head one time. And it was the most random thing. And it made me so uncomfortable, but I didn't know what to do about it. So I just walked away. But those were some of the weird.
All right, let's spin one more of these.
Okay. And a shoe. I autographed a shoe once. Okay, top 3 favorite non-country albums. All right. I would say Appetite for Destruction. That is one of my favorite albums of all time. I would say the Beatles' White Album. And probably Evermore, Taylor Swift.
Wow.
It's an odd mix, I know.
That's a great mix. That's where you get the old soul from, is that you have a wide variety of music you like.
Yeah, so those are usually like almost every other day. At least one of those will be on. So
what's one band that no one thought that you would like that you love, or band or person?
So a lot of people haven't heard of this band, but they're one of my biggest influences when I was little. They're the Thrills. And they were this Irish band that formed in, I think, 2001. And they put out a few albums around the time I was born. And so I've always loved listening to them. And so a lot of people don't know about them, though. So they're one of my really big influences. And also like Elliott Smith, some people haven't heard of him, but I really, really like his music. And so those are people that they usually wouldn't think that I would like because I haven't heard of them. But those are really big influences for me.
I love that. Now,
thank you.
I'm going to leave you with my last two questions.
Okay.
Okay. And the first question, my second to the last question, is about imposter syndrome. And you have it, I have it, we all have imposter syndrome. But sometimes in the back of your head, someone's telling you not to do it. You know, don't get on stage, don't write that song, you cannot perform in these cities. But how do you not let that affect you? And for the person that's watching this right now, can you give them some advice on how it can not affect them if they have imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I would say definitely just do what you want to do and don't let someone tell you what you can and can't do. Just listen to what your heart and your mind says about things and take that before anyone else's opinions or views on what you do. And that's what I would say would be the biggest thing to channel in your mind is just do what you want.
I love it. That's true. Do what you want, and just as well, just do it correctly and just do it nice to other people. Now,
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, what are you excited for the rest of this year and the top of 2026? What can we expect from you?
Yes, so I'm hoping to get an EP out maybe at the end of 2025, early 2026. Depends on the timeline. I'm not sure yet, but definitely lots of new music coming out. Hopefully some more new music videos and just a lot more content so far and more, real TikToks, more real Instagram posts and things of that matter, and just definitely building my craft more, putting more music out and a lot more things out for y'all to see and hear.
Well, I saw you brought your guitar in here.
Yes.
So I'm assuming we're going to play a song here.
Yeah.
Now, the way we're going to tee it off, though, is you're going to look straight in that camera right there. You're going to say your name, and you say, "This is how I walk the line," like the Johnny Cash song, "Walk the Line."
Okay.
That's how you're going to do it after the applause. You ready?
Okay.
So you say your name, and you say, "This is how I walk the line." All right. After the applause here in...
I'm Macartney Reinhardt, and this is how I walk the line. I heard from the neighbor, she's trying to save me. She saw your pickup cross town in another drive. Can't say for sure, but looks like the same one. She can't tell by the dent in the passenger side. I guess my mama was right. Word gets around in a small Georgia town. Slips through the cracks when there's no one around. It hits you hard like a bullet from a gun. Right when you think you can trust someone, this word gets around and you'll find out it's true. And I guess so did you. Does she make you happy? Is she something special? She's something to you that I could never be. And when she asked about me, did you change the subject? Did you say we were nothing, nothing but a one-time thing? And do you lie to her like you lie to me? Word gets around in a small Georgia town. Slips through the cracks when there's no one around. Hits you hard like a bullet from a gun. Right when you think you can trust someone, 'cause word gets around and you'll find out it's true. And I guess so did you.
someone for me. He treats me right. You know how this town can be, so don't be surprised when word gets around that I'm moving on. I brought him home, and my mama likes this one. Seeing me happy might break your heart, but you get what you give, and you